if God spoke a word into this universe, it has to come to pass. No matter. So when it's hard times come, you walk by faith and not by sight. Like the body without the spirit is dead, so is faith without works is dead. So if you believe in God for something and you're not working towards it, that's dead. Faith begins when ability runs out. You gotta keep on walking. Keep on walking.
He said it get dangerous, it get gnarly. So the sword of the spirit is stay on me.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Telvers again, your modern day David. Welcome back to my channel, where we walk by faith and not by sight. And we trust in the Lord with all our hearts, and we lean not on our own understanding. I got a quick message for you today. I want to let you know that if you're not walking, you're not doing nothing. What do I mean by that? The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 7, it says to walk by faith and not by sight. In order to walk by faith and not by sight, it means we have to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not on our own understanding. We can't trust God and pay attention to what we see at the same time. Because what we see, a lot of times, is a lot different from what God said. If God spoke a word to you, you got to believe that He's going to make that word come to pass. You got to believe that no matter what you see, God's word remains supreme. No matter how much it doesn't look like it's going to come to pass, no matter how much it doesn't look like you're going to be okay, no matter how much it doesn't look like what God said, what God spoke, what God promised, you have to walk by faith and not by sight. Don't pay attention to what you see with your physical eyes. Now the thing with that is you have to be walking. You have to keep walking. Why is walking important? James tells us in James chapter 2, verses 22, he says faith is made complete by works. 4 verses later, in verse 26, he tells us that just like the body without the spirit is dead, so is faith without works is dead. So if you believe in God for something and you're not working towards it, that's dead. That's dead faith. Because this is a partnership with God. You ask God, how it works is, it's like this. We ask God for something. God already knows what we're going to pray for. And He can give it to us like that. And sometimes He gives it to us like that. But sometimes we ask for certain things that God will eventually use to grow you. So He has to get you to go through a process to give you that thing. Because He's not going to give it to you the way that you want it. He will exceed your expectations. He's going to do exceeding abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think. So you must know that if you got a word from God, if you believe in God for something, it's not always going to come easy. So when it's hard times come, you walk by faith and not by sight. You got to keep on walking. Keep on walking. The Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, it says, those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. In order to run and not be weary and to walk and not faint, you have to be moving. You have to be moving. Sometimes that moving and that walking by faith, sometimes it's standing still. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's standing still. Sometimes God says, you stay still right now and let me fight your battles for you. Because Exodus 14:14 is when God said, the Lord shall fight for you. You need only to be still. That is why discernment is important. If you haven't checked out my last video on discernment, go check it out. But we have to discern at what time am I supposed to be staying still right now, or if there's something that I can be doing to work to what I prayed for, to what I asked God for, because this is a partnership with God. If I ask God to give me a car, I'm going to do the things I need to do to get my credit right. If I ask God to heal me of this disease, I'm going to eat better. But when there are times when there is nothing that we can do, and that is when there is ultimate level of faith that you have to have, because faith begins when ability runs out. When you have nothing left that you can do, that's when you have no choice but to trust in God. But you have to discern and consult with God with everything and ask Him, God, what is my assignment in this situation? What are my instructions this season? How do you want me to walk, God? I'm going to walk by faith, but what form shall I be walking in? Shall I be working towards the goal that I've been praying to you for? Or is it time for me to be still and not get in your way, God? Either way, if you're not walking, you're not doing nothing. Walk by faith, not by sight. Trust in God for what He said. It might look different. It might seem different. It might even sound different. But if God spoke a word into this universe, it has to come to pass. No matter what you think, no matter what the devil think, no matter what demons think, no matter what angels think, no matter what nobody thinks, if God spoke a word, it's going to come to pass. So if God spoke and said you would have a blue car and a red car pull around, that ain't your car. At least for right now. You get what I'm saying. But walk by faith and not by sight. Either way, you got to keep walking. You have to walk. Sometimes that walk is in the form of actually working for that thing. And sometimes that walk is in the form of being still and casting your cares on the Lord and trusting that He will handle it for you. Consult with God for all things. But you must keep walking. Y'all be blessed.
Pop out with the game, we gon' step to giving praises to the King, yeah. To the King, I got that armor on my body. Are you gon' pull up to the party? Said it get dangerous.